Hello guys and welcome to Mangotology. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Steven Mango and I'm an ex-Scientologist that works here on YouTube exposing Scientology. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure to go down below, click on that subscribe button as well as the bell icon right next to it so you stay notified whenever I release a new video. So today we are going to be answering your questions that you guys sent to me about Scientology. It's been a while since I sat down and done one of these type of question and answer videos, and recently, as we know, and even over the last couple months or even the last few years, Scientology has made a big storm, if you will, in the media with other people exposing the church, such as myself, or even just people such as Leah Remini, who have a television show. It's in the news, it's in the magazines. So there's been a lot of traffic on my channel here, Mangotology, and people send in so many questions every single day wondering different things about Scientology. So I asked you guys to send me your questions, and if you didn't get a chance to even send in one, my email's down below. I'm going to try to make this a series if you guys like these type of videos, and if you don't want to send a private email, you can just send me a quick tweet at stevenmango, and I will compile the best ones for my next video. So let's just jump right on into it. No more rambling. Let's start answering questions about me and about Scientology. The first question is, how do people actually get all of this money to donate to Scientology? You said you were an 18-year-old kid who wanted to be an actor. How were you able to afford to give so much money when you were in? Now, in my opinion, I feel like $50,000 to donate to Scientology isn't a lot of money. It felt like a lot of money to me when I was younger. It is a large sum of money, but in terms of actually donating to Scientology, there are people who donate millions who may have a job maybe making like $1,000 a month. And you may be wondering, how do these people actually get the money? It's a long answer, but I'm going to condense it into a short version where for me personally, I wasn't your average everyday 18-year-old kid. I was a background and stand-in actor through the Screen Actors Guild, and I had an agent that would get me booked on every single TV show. I've been on everything from Modern Family to The Middle to tons of shows. I can't even name all of them that were on Disney, Nickelodeon, because I looked so young. Whereas I was a legal adult, so I could work adult hours, but I looked maybe like 14 or 15 years old at the time. So I could play on, say, like Hannah Montana on Disney Channel or whatever. I was able to actually work on those shows, and I would get booked by the season on some of them as well. So 5 to 6 days of work a week that pays $200 to $300 a day when you're a single kid. That's a lot of money. And yes, I had a lot of bills as well living in LA, but I wasn't your average everyday 18-year-old kid, number one. Number two, even when I didn't have money to donate, the registrars in Scientology, the salespeople, would all together start running credit apps at the same time to try to get me approved for a lot of credit at once. They'd also apply for loans in my name. They would do so because they had my social security number. And I even had to give my registrar permission to every single bank. We sat there in her office one day. I had to call up, and there was a telephone on my side and a telephone on her side. And she was listening in on the call, and I had to say, I give Annie Norlin, who is my reg at CC, permission to contact the bank to be my financial advisor, to engage in financial transactions on my behalf. Now, you may be thinking that is the absolute stupidest thing you could have ever done, but all Scientologists end up going through this process. They try to frame it as, we're trying to help you with your money so you can be able to get this opportunity to go up the bridge. So any way we can help you look at your statement and transactions, see where you're spending too much money or how you could budget things a little bit better. We just want to help you. And it wasn't just like, we're just trying to extort money out of you. So there was that. And what would happen is, even if I got approved for like a credit card for like, say, $2,000, they would say, this is the first step. Now we have to handle the banks. So they would call up the banks and call their Scientology connections in the bank and then say, hey, he got approved for $5,000 on the credit card. Steve needs to do whatever, grade 2 or, wherever on the bridge. That's, in their mind, say a couple intensive auditing at $3,500 at Celebrity Center. We need him to get like $15,000. So we need the increase for an extra $10,000. And then they would grant that and then just charge it right there on the spot. Even before the card even came, they'd say, hey, like, what's the credit card number? We need to charge it, this account. And like the second they get you approved, they charge the card and max it out. So you don't even get it in the mail, and they're already charging you thousands of dollars. The next question, all ex-Scientologists say the first few courses are genuinely helpful to their life and are what caused them to buy into later courses. For example, Leah Remini acknowledges they are helpful, yet all things gained can be acquired in a similar communication course anywhere else. My question is, what exactly are people actually gaining in the first few courses? What specifically is better early on that people feel compelled to buy the later level? In summary, what is the good side of Scientology that entices people to join and stay in the cult? I discussed this in one of my other videos. It is basically self-help Scientology, right? So they find out what is that one thing in your life that's ruining you. And they have dozens of courses that tailor everything from like your marriage to courses about money, about happiness, about toxic relationships. Like they have courses about everything. So they're going to initially rope you into going one of those courses. Later on there's auditing, and that's going to be addressing your mind, kind of like a one-on-one therapy where the person doesn't say anything as the auditor, but they give you specially guided questions to kind of guide you to realizations in your life. So they have that. And yeah, in the early stages, there are things that are beneficial. But again, Hubbard took a lot of different inspiration or stole a lot of things from other philosophers and from other programs and stuff. So Scientology isn't necessarily original. You can gain these type of benefits from self-help courses, books from Barnes & Noble. I mean, there's so many ways to do it where you don't have to give someone hundreds of thousands of dollars, and also your mind and giving control over to someone else of how you can think, how you behave, what you do in that day. Like there's basically Scientology is controlling every area of your life, and that is pretty much the opposite of what they're claiming that you achieve in Scientology. And you don't have like free thought to be able to think what you want and feel what you want. You're just basically a prisoner of their belief system. I don't know where there's a similar communication course, for example, where you learn drills. The issue is with Scientology communication, we all know they stare at people and they have that dead stare, and they do these acknowledgments, which are after you say something, they'll say, I got it, understood, okay. So could you imagine you said something like, I aced my test, and they go, great. It's just so fake. It's not an authentic form of communication, and they do it so robotically that you're talking to them and you just feel like what the hell is wrong with you? Like, why are you talking to me like this? Like, it just doesn't feel authentic in America or in any country. Like, no one talks like that. So people always look at you like you have two heads. Like, why is he going, I got it, understood, okay. It's just like, and they say it in that type of thing because they have to have some level of affinity. So they'll go, great. And you're looking at the person like they sound so goofy. So again, I wouldn't even necessarily recommend their communication course on that token. So the next question, how does your husband and family feel about your work exposing Scientology? My husband, well, we're going to get to the family. My husband is very supportive. He loves me, and obviously we're married. We've been together for 6 years now, 7 years. 2012, it's 2019, right? We met 2012. Yeah, so we've been together now 7 years. We have an amazing relationship. I love him more than anything, and he knows what this means to me. It's really important to help other people to stay out of the grips or harm of Scientology. And yes, it was hard, like when our dog was poisoned possibly by Scientology, and there's been times when I had a debate, is this still something I want to do when it's impacting my personal life? But then I think about it and I say, well, on the other hand of that, I need to help other people who are afraid to speak out. And if everyone stays quiet, then no one's going to learn the truth. So I need to help other people come to these realizations and understandings that Scientology isn't a bona fide real religion. It's a group that controls and harms people every single day. So once, my husband understood that in the beginning, like he 100% supported me, because I wasn't even initially going to speak out against Scientology. I was talking to an ex-member a couple of years, it's a long time now, probably 5 years ago, and this person said, hey, like you should make a video and speak out. I'm like, no, like I don't think I want to do that. Later on, as I thought about it, I'm like, you know what, I need to, even if no one watches it, I need to just get this message out there just to help myself. So even if I film it and never put it out there, it's at least going to help me move on from this experience. And I thought maybe only a couple people who are interested in like Celebrity Center, for example, or other Scientologists can hear the outpoints, kind of like Debbie Cook's email. That wasn't meant for public consumption. That was for other Scientologists to see the outpoints and kind of figure out and come to an understanding about Scientology. And now the public asks questions about that email and stuff. So it's just very interesting that it became a public thing that people became interested in learning about. And I never would have thought people had interest in learning about what happens in Scientology, but we're here all these years later and still talking about it. Oh, my family. Okay, so this is the issue that I'm having now. Maybe you guys can help me. My family is so embarrassed by me on YouTube. Like, it's speaking out against Scientology, like not just like the drama channel, like beauty drama stuff, which is a little creepy. They are so mortified that I do this and just putting myself out there. They tell me, get a real job, don't do YouTube, don't speak out, don't ever mention Scientology again, delete your channel, delete every video, change your name, because my dad also is named Steven Mango. So when they type in my dad, who's very important, they've come across all these things about me. So it embarrasses the family and their name and everything like that, that I speak out against this cult, and they feel like they're judged about it in some way, and I need to change my name. It's like, why don't you change your name? If you're so embarrassed by me, like, change your last name. So then that doesn't come up. Like, I'm keeping my name as of now. So it just seems so weird to me, and it's like they really don't support me. And it's sad. We've been in a fight lately after we've had like good relations for the last like few years, kind of. And it's sad because I want to have a good relationship with my family, but on the other hand, I'm not willing to compromise what I feel is what I'm doing is a good thing, and they rather me just work in a grocery store bagging groceries, like doing anything. And there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but they just want me to do anything other than being on YouTube, even if it's like sweep the floor, like do something, like don't speak out on Scientology and make videos. And it's like I don't know what to do about it. Like I just kind of cut them off for a while, like again, because it's too hurtful, and then I can't move forward in my life and make videos and do things that actually make me happy. And this is like therapy for me as well, and I get to hear from you guys, and you guys talk to me, so it's also beneficial to me. But it's like we're just different. Like I was always like the actor, vegetarian, you know, free-spirited, gay, like just completely different than them, like rebelling against a lot of different things. I'm completely different than my family, but yeah, I don't know if they're necessarily supportive of me like doing this or acting or like any of that sort of stuff. It's just sad because as an adult, they just can't like agree to disagree or just be like, okay, we accept you. That they rather like have like no contact or like have like a bad relationship with me. And telling your kid to change their name, like even when I was in Louis Theroux's documentary, they had the screening in New York. There was also one in LA that Jeff came to, but I was going to the one in New York, and I invited my mom to go with me. Oh, she had to work that day. She works in like a retail store, like on like a Sunday afternoon, like you can't get the day off. When I don't know, it just seemed like so weird. But then she could go to Italy for 2 weeks, like a month later, and she somehow could take 2 weeks off, but she couldn't take one night to drive to New York or fly to New York, which is like a 45-minute flight, and then she couldn't go to the screening for something that made me happy. So it was just really disappointing because like they were just so embarrassed that they didn't want to hear me speak out against Scientology. They didn't want to see me in Louis' film. And here I am getting this big platform to tell my story in a big film. Like I thought it was a really exciting thing. I still do. I still talk about it all the time being in that film. I thought it was so cool. I love Louis Theroux. And I'm glad that I was able to have him help me tell my story, even if it was only a short mention in the film. And my own family was too embarrassed. So anyways, they're not supportive of what I do. Are you ever going to finally be on Leah Remini's Scientology in the Aftermath? I get asked this all the time. People are always tweeting like Leah or me and being like, be on the show. I mean, I guess maybe that's the best way to do it. I don't know. It's our little viral campaign, but it didn't work last time I tried to do that. I talked to Leah in DMs. We've talked about Scientology drama, if you will. She's never asked me to be on her show. I love her work. I love her her television show. And I feel like there's other ex-Scientologists who don't really like me. I don't know. I didn't even meet like some of these other people who may have problems with me. I don't know, maybe some people don't have problems with me. I'm just assuming that these people have had issues with me. If people who've been on her show have had issue with me in the past, I really don't know. There's a lot of this victim games that goes on, not with Leah, but I'm just talking about with other ex-members, where it's like, Steven Mango wasn't in the Sea Org, he wasn't in staff, who does he think he is, trying to be like a Scientology expert speaking out against Scientology, when there's so many of us who've been abused in this form or that fashion. We were locked in, in base for 30 years or something. We had to escape on a motorcycle or whatever, right? And it's like, yeah, okay, but we're all have gone through Scientology system. Yes, maybe some people have been on this end where it's like really the worst end of the Scientology stick. There's other people over here, but it's Scientology nonetheless. If people are like, I was a class 8 auditor, I was OT7, so Stephen Mango wasn't that high up on the bridge, so who is he trying to make videos or something, right? It's like, I don't have to be OT7 to speak out. Tony Ortega, for example, has blogs every single day, and he was never in Scientology, right? So it's like the same thing. But when people play this victim game, like, I was more of a victim than you, it's like, that's very toxic. And it's like, well, I was abused more than you, so that gives me more credibility. It's like, how does that make any sense in any modern day society or world? And yes, I know that her show wanted to focus more on like serious abuses and crimes, but maybe I could be like a guest commentator when they have like a round table type of thing, or, you know, they don't have to like feature my story 100%. And here I am, one of the biggest activists on YouTube, speaking out. I have a video with almost 2 million views on it, telling my story, been on news programs, everything. And I have a pretty big platform for ex-Scientology activism. I know I'm not like this huge activist, but it's like, why am I not given that credit by Leah Remini's show? Like, why am I discounted from appearing in any way just because I wasn't as abused as some other people? Because that was the answer I got basically from other people. Like, you know, they're focusing on bigger abuses maybe. I don't know, because I talked to the producers for a couple hours once, like a year or two ago, and then another time I talked to them for like an hour or two, and they're very aware of me. I know that if she doesn't want to have me on the show, it is totally okay. I still love Leah and I still love the program. I just think it's kind of weird. Like, I think for anything, like, I represent the everyday person that Scientology is targeting. Like, yes, I might not have been in the Sea Org, but I basically fell for the scam from like, here's a personality test, all the way through to going from like the $50 course all the way as a normal person, no family in, no friends, nothing, just like the, oh wow, like what is this, to actually getting so deep involved that I had to escape years later. I just think that, you know, it is something that I think people don't really know. I think people know my story, obviously, but I don't think people really know that side. Like, oh, like everyday people, they just see like, oh, this person was like David Miscavige's right-hand man, but they don't see like what the everyday person gets subjected to. And I think that that's kind of like what my speaking point is, of like the everyday person who gets roped in. And I don't know, I think that it would be cool to be on the show. I actually did film another television show. They kind of featured my stories. I don't know when it's going to be out. I can't tell you what network or anything. It is a piece about Scientology, and I think they're doing one on Nexium, but I'm excited about that at least. It's not like, oh, I have to be on television. It's just more like I want the word out against Scientology on as many platforms as I can be on. I do podcasts, I do radio shows, I do all sorts of things just because I love the opportunity to help others avoid the mistakes that I went into. And if I can get back at Scientology in any way, form, or fashion I can, I'm happy. So it would be a big, like, her show's the biggest show, Leah, you know, like if I was able to be on a show like that, you know, I would really finally feel satisfied, like, oh, I gave Scientology an ass whooping, if you will. But anyways, guys, yeah, I don't know if you'll ever see me on the show. I think I would be great, but I don't know. What is the worst thing that ever happened to you inside Scientology? There's so many things. I don't even know where, like, I would even start with, like, what is, like, the worst thing? I've been locked in rooms. I've been shoved up against walls for money, Sea Org recruitment cycles. I've been spit on, called a pussy. I mean, there's been a lot of things that I don't know why I didn't run for the hills, but again, you know, it's mind control. And, you know, looking back, you're like, why did I stay for as long as I did or whatever? But you know, you're under a level of hypnotic control. You really don't have a say, you know, and you think it's your spiritual salvation. You think that they're abusing you for good, like to shake the bad out of you, if you will, you know, saying that it's your reactive mind, whatever. Like, they're looking out for you, even though they're abusing you. Like, they're trying to help you to be more ethical and all these different things. So there's a lot of those. The most traumatic things are always the Sea Org recruitment cycles and the most brainwashing, because, you know, you guys have heard me talk about in my like main video, like the different lines they would use on you, but all those sort of things about, you know, how the psychiatrists are controlling us through the media, and there's only these like 3 or 4 different big entities, and they're all funded by pharmaceutical companies, and that's why these messages are implanting messages in our brain, like, are you unhappy? Take Latuda. And then you're like, oh, I want to take that antidepressant, whatever, right? And these companies only care about drugging us, and we have this 4th dynamic engram, and basically that is holding us, it's like hypnotically commanding us every single day. Like right now, like me and you, we have this this implant inside of us hypnotically, right? And we're all operating on a lower wavelength than we're capable of. We're all just like these very low functioning, hypnotized, like we're all just kind of like sunken in, like just living this existence that we can get out of, you know, as long as we're doing Scientology and going up the bridge, and we can fight all of these evil things in our world so we can all unleash our inner godlike powers. And it all just sounds like, wow, like maybe that is true. And those sessions of these long 10 to 12, 14-hour sessions all the time, and they got very physical and crazy inside these recruitment cycles for the Sea Org. And in these recruitment cycles, you're on a routing form, and the end part of the routing form is signing the Sea Org recruitment form. If you don't sign that, they continue try to handling your objections, whatever, because they can't stop, and they have to sign off on all these different things on their form, where I'll explain routing forms in another video if you guys want to know. But basically they have to do certain checklist items, even for them, or in order to avoid getting into trouble, right? So they have to say, do this step, that step, and this step. And they sign off every single time they do one of those steps. And they have on the bottom, like, signing the Sea Org recruitment cycle, or they can't go home, or you can't go home until you do that. And I never did, but I would be there until we're all worn down enough that I somehow finagled my way out. And those were always the scariest cycles, because sometimes you don't even know you're in a Sea Org recruitment cycle till it starts, and then you're like, oh no, here we go. Can you be involved in another faith in Scientology at the same time? Scientology claims that you can be, but it's not true. They'll say you can be a Jewish Scientologist or a Catholic one, but L. Ron Hubbard said that he was the Antichrist, and that God and Jesus don't exist, and they're just, again, these like implants into our mind, and it's all just, again, part of this whole weird brainwashing thing that we're all apparently, you know, under this like weird spell that we all believe in Jesus, but it's all just an implant. Eventually it's considered other practices. You get so involved in Scientology, they're like, well, why do you have to go in church on Sunday? That's another practice. Why do you have to go to meditation? Why do you need to meditate when you can do auditing? Like, clearly, you know, you're doing another practice that's interfering with Scientology, and you have to pick. And yoga, why do you need to do yoga when you have to be going up to the bridge? That's more important. Like, yoga, why would you want to be spending your time doing yoga when you have all these courses to do and all this time and effort, and you have to go into session? Like, is it really important to be going to yoga right now? Like, clearly maybe you're reading bad things about Scientology, you need to go to ethics or corrections, and there's all these different things that they'll put on you, because they'll say, hey, you know, if you're trying to, you know, do these different things, then maybe you have a misunderstood word, or, you know, you're talking to a critic, a suppressive person. So there's all these different things. But with the religious aspect of it, you can't be involved in another faith like very heavily and being involved in Scientology, because you have to pick one or the other. Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard is considered source, and that's source of every piece of information of the world. So just keep that in mind when you tell Scientology, oh yeah, I'm actually going to I'm going to a Buddhist meditation. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. Did Scientology threaten to expose your sexuality? No, this isn't like a case of John Travolta or Tom Cruise allegedly being gay, which I don't actually believe either one of them are. But maybe John Travolta, I don't think Tom Cruise. But no, because I was in the closet, I was on Scientology posters at the time, and I believed truly that I might even join the Sea Organization at Flag. Eventually the Superpower building, I wanted to be an auditor. I had all these big plans and goals for myself inside Scientology, and I knew that obviously being so involved, I wasn't out of the closet even in my own family or friends. I didn't come out of the closet until I was in a serious relationship with a man, being Jeff. I didn't come out to even like one person, a friend, nothing. I felt like my sexuality, I almost believed Scientology that my sexuality was an aberration, it was something wrong. Like, eventually in auditing, maybe I'll handle like some homosexual thoughts that I've had, but homosexual thoughts, in their words, I would eventually handle those type of things that were wrong with me, or what they think is something wrong. It's something wrong with you being gay, but I thought that's what it was. Like, oh, I just have to handle these different things. Maybe I was abused when I was younger, like something might have happened in a past life. And once I clear that up, I'll start being more attracted to women. I'll come up the tone scale. I won't be 1-1 anymore. And I'll come out of my homosexuality and I'll be more straight, which doesn't work, anyone. Newsflash, it's who you are. You're born with your sexuality. And that's what I thought, but I didn't want to tell them, because in case I joined the Sea Org, whatever, I knew that And I knew it said in Dianetics you're a sexual pervert, all this stuff, so I wasn't comfortable coming out, so they had nothing to ever expose. Did you ever have sex with any Sea Org members or Scientology celebrities? Well, let me tell you. No, I didn't have sex with any Sea Org members or anything. Sea Org members live and work at Scientology 24/7. They're not having gay sex with public Scientologists. I wasn't out of the closet, like I said. Sea Org members, yeah, a lot of them did appear gay. Like, even like the commanding officer of Celebrity Center, Dave Pettit, seems so flamingly gay, and maybe he's not, but I don't know. He just gives gay vibes, and so many Sea Org boys do. Even Jeff, like when we'd like go by Big Blue or something, he's like, those guys look so gay. And you know, you never can tell someone's sexuality, but like I would look and be like, yeah, like that person doesn't seem, you know, straight. And you know, they claim that they're straight, and they're definitely not straight, probably. You know, they're all probably thinking that they can handle their sexuality with Scientology. It doesn't work, guys. Come out of the closet. Scientology celebrities, I wasn't personally intimately involved with Scientologist celebrities to the point where we were willing to have sex, like at the CC Gala, or like a couple times being around different celebrities, but no, I didn't have sex with any Scientology celebrities. What fair game have you experienced for speaking out against the cult? I have experienced a lot of different fair game activity, not as much as you would expect for the level I speak out against Scientology. I've had private investigators on me. I've had people outside my house over here, like taking pictures of my home or waiting to follow me different places. It doesn't intimidate me. My husband is was never involved in Scientology, so he shouldn't be. I think Scientology knows, like, hey, if we start following Steve Mango or his husband when they go out, then his husband could have a lawsuit against Scientology, because his husband doesn't need harassment by Scientology. He wasn't a former member. He's just your everyday person, kind of like Monique Rathbun's lawsuit. The same deal. Monique was never a Scientologist. Why should she be subjected to that level of harassment by Scientology when she was never even involved in the slightest? They potentially poisoned my dog who passed away, Phineas, who was, I did a whole video about it. He was outside. He ran to the front gate because someone was there. He ran down and came back. Later on was violently vomiting. You guys can watch the whole entire video. I don't want to get sad right now to think about everything, but all roads lead to Scientology, because I was speaking up very heavily against them at the time. I talked about how he was one of my favorite dogs, and then Scientology does stuff like that to try to say, like, hey, like, we're watching you. And also, I was getting Scientology books mailed to my house. I was getting packets from Scientology, books on my doorstep. It just all was in that same time frame. So it's not like just what happened out of the blue. It was all while I was exposing Scientology in the press. Would you ever consider rejoining Scientology? People have asked me this question. It seems kind of weird. It's not just like the Catholic Church would just show up and be like, hey, like, I'm going to start praying again. Scientology is not like that. They're a criminal cult enterprise. If I was to go back, then I would be co-signing all of their behavior, bad things. I think people don't realize, like, there's like an independent Scientology movement if you want to get auditing or counseling, whatever, and not subject yourself to like David Miscavige or giving money to the criminal groups. Just like there's a lot of people who are like auditors now, and they left the church and they want to help people with Scientology practices, but they don't believe in, like, say, the homosexuality stance, or they don't believe in tearing apart families with disconnection. If people want to do that, they are grown adults. They should do that if that's their prerogative. You can't stop anyone from believing that, regardless if that's what I think is the right thing to do or not the right thing to do. I've explained this before to you guys. There's a spectrum from Scientology's amazing, can do no wrong, L. Ron Hubbard source, to this is the most evil criminal thing in the world. And I don't fall on either end of that spectrum. I might be somewhere in this range over here, more towards the evil side, obviously, but that doesn't mean I'm also not, you know, engaging in Scientology practices, if you will. So yeah, I don't like read Scientology books, any of that. So obviously, I'm just trying to explain to you guys, like, when it's like, would you rejoin? It's like, people don't have to rejoin like the actual Scientology corporation. You can go and get counseling if you want, and I think if that helps people and that practitioner or that auditor has good intentions, it could be very helpful. If it's just, hey, I'm going through a rough time, this is what I'm going through, and if that gives you relief, that gives you relief. That's that person's prerogative. Other people say, no, never go on the e-meter, never do that, it's the most evil, corrupt thing in the whole world, you're gonna, you know, and that, like, horrible, like, there's a lot of critics like that, and I don't believe in being in black and white. There's no such thing in any world thing. Nothing is pure evil, nothing's purely good. Maybe some things are purely evil, but I think even some things kind of fluctuate a little bit. There's time when Scientology will start to, like, stop fundraising as much. So then it's starting to go a little bit more on the good side. Doesn't mean it's great and perfect, but it's like it's going like, okay, maybe they're realizing they shouldn't extort so much money out of people. Or it might start going on the evil side when you find out that they're committing elder fraud and they're starting to get money from elderly that have dementia. Okay, then they're going more towards the evil side, right? So that's just how it is. Could Scientology, I think the next question, let me check because that's going to be answering that question. Do you believe a reformation of Scientology is possible? Yeah. Not in the corporate Scientology sense. I feel like if there was a group of other ex-Scientologists that wanted to practice Scientology, that could work. It wouldn't be like a big corporate church, obviously, because Scientology has all their things copywritten, and all their practices are all a system, and you can't say use copywritten materials outside of the church. And they don't want you practicing Scientology outside. Even if you have everything set up for like an org, they don't want you to be getting money that could be going to David Miscavige and to church leadership. They only have like 20,000 people worldwide, right? So they don't want any of those people going out of the church and losing that potential money and reconnecting with their family in the independent church, because that's the idea. And it's right now, you can look up the Reformation of Scientology. There's like a website because the church got like legally incorporated and stuff like that. So there is a group, and they're saying like, well, maybe we can like reunite families here, and it's kind of like a middle ground, whatever. And I don't know. I again feel like I don't want to tell someone what to believe or what not to believe. You guys form your own opinions about my videos. For me, I don't think, even if David Miscavige left Scientology somehow, or he got killed or died or something happened to the guy, there's a system in place to back his regime up, right? There's all Hubbard's policies. Scientology is operated by policy. Nothing changes in Scientology. So there's no such thing as like you go in Scientology and 5 years later they say, oh, we changed our stance on gay people. Like that doesn't happen, because L. Ron Hubbard said in the 50s or 60s that gay's a criminal pervert. No one can make a decision outruling Hubbard. Maybe David Miscavige could try to do some sort of thing where he's overruling Hubbard's stuff, but that doesn't happen, obviously, because then people say, oh, you're like it's like treasonous to go against Hubbard or to change his policy, because it works as an exact science to them. So they're not going to change their viewpoints. So yeah, even if a new person came into power, unless they say, hey, we need to like revamp everything in Scientology to where we accept gay people, we don't break apart families, we are tolerant of all people, we don't expect exorbitant donations, we don't bankrupt people, we don't commit fraud, we don't rip people off. You know what I mean? Like they would have to change everything to be purely honest and good. And I don't know if that's possible or not. I mean, it might be possible, but I don't think Scientology is willing to do that. I don't think they're willing to sacrifice their revenue source, because people would say, oh, you're not doing disconnection, then we're going to leave. They need that level of control. They need to root their faith in a level of controlled obedience, hypnosis, so many different things, where if they strip that off, they don't have Scientology anymore. So yeah, I don't really know. It's a deep question. I would probably need to sit on video here and talk it out for another hour for you guys if you really wanted to know the answer of a reformation of Scientology, or about what is like the good of Scientology versus the bad, and kind of like deciphering things. It's something that every person has a different opinion on. Did you ever try to seek a refund? Yes, I did. I tried to get refunded my money that was on account. Never heard anything from Scientology on that, which is weird. There's advance payments in Scientology. So I could give $5,000 in advance, say for OT7 at Flag, and be on like the grades, right? That's like years away. But I would start donating towards that on a savings account as an advanced donation for the service. So when I'm ready to do OT7, I already have it paid for. So there's tens of thousands of dollars I probably have, or maybe at least $10,000 on account at these different orgs, and they don't refund anyone their advance donations unless you're willing to come into the church and you're willing to do a routing form, and you probably sign releases saying you'll never speak something bad about Scientology, that you're being excommunicated, all that sort of stuff. And they don't let you do that if you've already been declared a suppressive person. You have to request money back within 1 to 2 months of your service. If you're trying to get donations, like all the auditing or anything I've ever done, like book course, I have to say I'm dissatisfied according to their IRS like guidelines and stuff. I'd have to do so within, like, say 30 days or 45 days. Then of course they're going to put you in auditing sessions, they're going to put you in ethics, ARC break, misunderstood word, like word clearing stuff, to try to see like why you're all of a sudden having this doubt or second guessing, or why you don't want to be in Scientology anymore. And it's all meant, that routing form, to get you to go back into the church. It's not meant to help you get the refund. It's meant to convince you and to scare you into staying in a Scientology, to stay longer. You got the benefits of this course, whatever, and no one ever really gets their refund. I might have heard of like 3 people ever getting a refund, and that was like 30 years ago, so it doesn't really happen. The IAS money, they say I'm a suppressive person. I have a lifetime membership. You took my money for a lifetime membership and then declared me like 2-3 months later, so even after I was on the poster saying never better time than to call yourself a lifetime member, but now in this part of time, and then they declare me for speaking out. So it's like, well, okay, I got 3 months of benefits, so charge me the 3 months, which might be like, what, $500 maybe? I don't know how much it would break down to. Maybe even less than that, like $200, right? I'll give you that. Then give me the $4,800 back. Never heard back from the IAS on any of my donations. For the membership, if you're kicking me out of your church, then I don't have a membership anymore. You should refund me if you don't want me in the church, right? Why are so many goddamn ads on your videos? You guys don't understand, or I think a lot of you do, and you support me. Like, I watch the ads all the way through, whatever. I know it's a pain to see a million ads on a video. I'm going to try to cut them down so there's not a lot. There's solutions. There's YouTube Red. It's like $5 or $10 a month, and you don't have to watch any video on YouTube with ads ever. Like, you pay $9 a month for it, but it's kind of like Netflix. You pay like $9 a month, and it supports the creator. It's not like ad blocks and things. This would actually allow me to still get the benefit of making my videos, whatever, because you guys are paying YouTube Red, and then they still compensate us creators for the ads that are placed there that you guys aren't watching. B, I might do a Patreon. I have a Patreon. You guys can check it out down below. I haven't updated in a while. I'm working on redoing it to do a podcast and do like a lot of really exciting things on there, to have like a really cool like extra bonus features. It supports my channel. You can support it for $5, $10 a month, all the way up to like $100 a month. No one supports me at $100 a month, but it's just like a cup of Starbucks coffee, $5 a month. Let's support an independent creator who's helping people to understand the abuses of Scientology. So that's why I have the Patreon, if anyone does want to, because I asked a lot, which is the next question, like how can I support you? Patreon is a great way to be able to give me a monthly couple dollars. You know, you can even donate $1 a month, and it just helps me be able to continue to devote time and effort and energy to make these videos. It takes hours to make these videos, guys. It takes 6 to 8 hours sometimes to get a video from idea to filming to editing to setting up the lights, putting the video on, promoting the videos, putting tags, you know, putting them in ex-Scientology groups, right? And it takes a lot of time. It's my full-time job. This is what I do to support myself and my family, I guess you can say, my husband and my dogs. I mean, my husband has a job, but, you know, in order for me to have my own income, I got ripped off of $50,000 from Scientology, and when they advertise on my channel, each time you guys watch those Scientology ads, I get compensated from Scientology's ad budget. Same with any other creator or whatever, not just Scientology. It could be Nestle, it could be, you know, Toll House Cookies, whatever. Those companies, then every time you guys watch their ads or click on them or interact, I don't know like the exact science behind all of how the ad stuff works, but I put the ads on, so it's not like Scientology puts the ad on and they're getting paid or something if you guys watch the Scientology ad or whatever. It doesn't benefit Scientology in any way, if that's what you guys are saying. So when people are like, oh my god, there's Scientology ads running on your channel, it's like, good, because then it's like me getting a refund. It's like I can finally make my money back from Scientology while educating you guys and educating the world at large, or anyone or whoever watches these videos. You guys actually get educated about what actually happens in Scientology, and in return I'm able to continue to make these videos, make a living for myself, so I can do these videos more, so I can release double, triple, quadruple the content per week, and then I'm able to maybe work on bigger projects, maybe a future documentary I've been hinting at, maybe a podcast, maybe more videos, maybe interviewing other ex-Scientologists, maybe flying people out to be on my channel. So there's a lot of really cool things that, by supporting my channel and not just being like, oh my god, there's a million ads, I'm not going to watch the video. It's like, we're all on the same team, as hopefully we all are. It's not just Scientologists watching my video. It's all ex-Scientologists or people who have interest in Scientology and what happens. You guys learn, and we're all part of the same team, hopefully. And I get to continue to make my videos and help people and expose Scientology and hopefully take these guys down, because I have the ability to make these videos or have the time to do a documentary or a podcast, whatever. Then I can maybe really make a dent in the world of helping take Scientology down, revoking their tax exemption, working with other ex-members. So I don't know. I think just me as a YouTube creator, I always support other creators, and I don't complain if they put 40 ads on the video. It's like, maybe they need the 40 ads on the video, you know, it's a pain. But there's YouTube Red, like I said, there's Patreon. Maybe I'll do it where you guys can watch ad-free on my Patreon. Maybe for a few dollars a month, you guys can subscribe on my Patreon and then watch my videos without any ads. But otherwise, these videos are free without ads. So yeah, you guys don't even have to pay anything. You guys can watch this video for free, and you know, there might be a couple ads. I know it's a pain, guys, but I'll keep it in mind to kind of try to cut it down when I can. So again, guys, thank you so much for this question and answer. It's a very long question and answer. If you guys watched all the way through this video, please make sure to mention it down below. If you have more comments or questions or anything you want for a future Q&A, leave it down below in the comment section. Email me or at stevenmango, and that's the best way to reach me. Follow me on my social medias. You guys can ask me questions there. Just keep up with my life. Mango Tea is my drama channel where I talk about beauty drama. I'm going to be posting there several days per week. So check out Mango Tea if you're interested in beauty or gossip related videos. That's Mango Tea. Subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to hit 100,000 subscribers this year, grow my platform, and be the biggest ex-Scientology channel here on YouTube. Like this video, and yeah, this video is way too long. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.